We've all heard tales of police corruption and brutality by now, but this story may surprise and disturb you. In January, Fresno, California, an activist named John Lang was found stabbed to death inside of his home after predicting that he would be killed by police in his area. His house was also set on fire in the struggle that killed him. Lang was well liked by most of his neighbors, many of whom were shocked by the incident and in disbelief that the man had any enemies. Neighbors insisted that it would be shocking if it was a random killing, as the neighborhood has been getting better. However, according to the predictions Lang was making himself just days before, this attack was far from random. In the days before his death, Lang was insistent that his life was in danger and that if he died, the Fresno Police Department would be responsible. On January 14th, Lang made a disturbing Facebook post where he eerily predicted his own death. According to one of John's many diary entries, he discovered a license plate scanning scam where Fresno cops would scan license plates at retail store parking lots in lower income neighborhoods. After collecting hits of violations, they then would pull the unsuspecting drivers over a few blocks away from the store location in a marked police vehicle, claiming they simply came across their vehicle through routine driving patrols. This illegal activity was motivated simply by profit and unfairly targeted Fresno's poorer residents. He posted this to a few social media outlets and local news comment sections. As John continued to try and expose the corrupt Fresno police officers, he noticed he started to become a target. He starts to notice police tailing him on the road. John sent an email to a Sacramento Bee reporter about this, trying to get this story known. However, John believed that this reporter was instead feeding his information to law enforcement, as the harassment significantly spiked after this email, which he received no reply to. Local law enforcement began to intimidate and harass John in various ways, some of which is caught by security cameras around his house. John claimed that sometimes the harassment consisted of false traffic stops, shows of force outside of his residence, cops he recognized following him into shops, people surveilling his residence both when he is and is not home, discrediting him with his clients as a pedophile, and much more. John kept a video diary of every strange happening on his YouTube channel, which is still up. Many of the videos capture unknown vehicles parked in front of his property, people walking around his property, and even people trespassing on his property in the middle of the night. John said he tried to file a complaint with Internal Affairs but was essentially stonewalled and redirected by local law enforcement. His claims were not followed up on. John started claiming that the Fresno police were now trying to frame him for criminal charges, most notably possession of child pornography, by trying to sneak into his house and plant evidence. This may seem like a far-fetched paranoid accusation, but several of his videos on his YouTube channel suggest that this may have happened. On one occasion, the same Fresno, California sheriff crew that had been harassing him and illegally entering his property were caught outside in a black van using an infrared thermal imager to see if John was home. They then phoned a waiting second party with information as to whether he was home or not. In another video, one of John's cameras had a 20-minute blank spot. This was especially unusual because during the time interval that this happened was a part in the day with high traffic volumes, and the system is configured for motion detection, so blank spots were, according to John, nearly impossible during this time frame. This likely meant that the officers also had some kind of access to John's camera system. During this 20-minute period, John believed that the officers snuck into his house to plant evidence for a future arrest. A few days before John's death, he notified a local journalist saying that he thinks they're going to make a move and try to kill him. He also made this Facebook post on the 16th, 3 days before his death, saying, "If I turn up missing or dead tomorrow, remember this van. I think I seen a couple of guys sneak out the side door and into the building when it was parked in the carport this afternoon. I've been causing the city of Fresno a lot of problems lately, which I now regret." On that same day, he posted this YouTube video, which shows the footage capturing the van. Later that same night, John made a desperate post asking any legal gun owners to come and crash at his place for the night to offer him some protection. On the 19th of January, John was discovered dead with stab wounds in his back and abdomen while his house was on fire. The Fresno Fire Department put out the fire. It was never determined if he died from the stabbings or from breathing in the smoke. But one thing is for sure, you should check out his YouTube channel before it gets taken down. This happened in January and nothing has ever come of it. No real investigations have taken place, and whoever was responsible for John's death, whether it be corrupt officers or not, are still roaming the streets. But with all this recorded evidence beforehand, and the fact that John predicted his own death mere days before it happened, it has to point to the fact that these corrupt Fresno police officers were responsible for John's death. To think that we live in a society where we are supposed to feel protected by the police, who carry the motto to protect and serve, but rather all too often we have to fear those same people who are sworn to protect us because of instances like these. Here we see an innocent man who was harassed, oppressed, stalked, and eventually murdered in cold blood by, most likely, the men in blue who are sworn to protect, simply for comments he made on the Fresno Bee news site from 2009 to 2013, comments that were critical of the way the Fresno Police Department utilized their budgets. This death has gone shockingly unnoticed and has been given very little media attention. Soon this incident may be forgotten, just like many other instances of oppression and abuse by the police. If this bothers you and you care to keep John Lang's murder relevant, share this topic around social media. Do anything to gain attention for it. Share his videos. In fact, we started a little petition today and we're hoping to get 5,000 supporters for it to start a federal investigation for this case. A link will be in the description if you just want to take a minute to sign it. Yeah, we know, online petitions for anything usually don't do much, but they can hurt. As always, thanks for watching.